Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So, you know, I did poll everybody, and so most of the people said they wanted a game between Karl Nakamura and Norbek Abdusattorov. But I did get some people that wanted a Magnus Carlsen versus Jan Nepomniachtchi game. So I figured I'd go ahead and do both. It's been a somewhat productive day. Been able to get actually quite a few videos done. So, man, I figured I'd go ahead and grab the Magnus Carlsen versus Jan Nepo, one of their games. I think each set played like 4 or 5 games or something like that. So, this is, like I said, one of their games that they played. So, of course, for all my people in the Philippines, I would say mabuhay to you. Kamusta na aking mga kaibigan. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Anybody who is coming from Norway, I would say God Morgan and Tusen Tak. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Anybody who is coming from Russia, I would say privyet to you. Kakadela, Dobre Otra, and Spasibo for coming by and taking a look at my stuff. But man, if you guys are ready, it's a pretty nice little game. You know, it's exciting enough, if I do say so myself. So man, if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look, see what we got for this game, homie. And this is position number 317. For those out here that are interested, I always put it down in the description. I kind of figured out a way to figure out which position it is. You know, I've definitely upped my game as far as chess 960 is concerned. I know there's definitely at least one person out there that really wants to know that info. So like I said, we do see knight to g3. We got the move g6. So, I mean, maybe ready, maybe King's Indian defense, some type of situation, little fianchetto thing, but we do see the move b4. And I mean, this is a good move. As I was saying in the game before, you know, it's always interesting, like whenever you make your first pawn moves, you know, because you do kind of want them to be supported by a piece behind, because you don't want to kind of toss them out there and then forget that they're out there and then let something just pick it off. That seems to always be my problem. So we do see the move f5. We got the move c4. And of course, this is another good move because it's supported by the rook. So we got the move e5. And we are just trying to create like the most bombish chess, pawn chain in the history of the world. You know, initially f5 was just kind of cutting off the knight a little bit because maybe the knight wanted to live on e4 at some point. You never know. So we do see the move f3, letting the bishop out. We got bishop to h4, and we do have the move bishop to f2. Now, you kind of got to be kind of careful, homie, because if you allow f4 to come in, you're going to be, you know, being like highly depressed as white, so you don't want to allow that, man. So we do see bishop to f2, and then we do have knight to b6, putting a little bit of pressure on this pawn on b4. And I mean, there's kind of 2 different ways that you can kind of go about, you know, either defending the pawn or using the pawn dynamically. What we see Magnus Carlsen actually do in the game is just go c5. He says, hey, man, I'm not even worried about none of that, man. Just go ahead and move your knight somewhere. It was definitely also possible to just go bishop to b3. You are protecting this pawn, but then also you're just developing a piece. So whenever you're thinking of, you know, defending a piece, especially if it's a pawn, you know, you definitely always want to consider a developing move, you know, just to get your forces out there a little bit more. But like I said, we do see the move c5, so that does force the knight to move. So the knight goes to d5, and then right immediately you have e4. You know, Magnus Carlsen is basically saying that I don't respect your knight. I don't like your knight, homie. Move it somewhere, son. So that's what he's doing, man. So we got the move knight to f4 after that. And then we have short castles by white. And as you guys know, I've been talking to you guys about this castling. These 2 squares are free for the castling. So we just see that going on. And then we do see the move bishop to e6. I mean, it's a move. We got knight up to b3. We see knight over to f7. And then we have the move d4. It's like, why not, bro? I'm trying to bust things open, homie. You know, black's king is kind of in the middle of the board, man. So, you know, you kind of want to open it up a little bit if you can. We do see the move c5, and that we don't have any d5 pawn pushes going on. We got pawn taking f5, pawn taking f5, knight taking f5. And then the intermezzo, bishop takes f2 a check, rook takes f2, bishop takes f5, and then queen takes f5. And, I mean, we just got a pawn, homie. I mean, there's really nothing that's going on in the situation that's suspect. We just got a pawn, like I said, man. So, I mean, you know, for the moment, Magnus Carlsen is enjoying his pawn. So we have long castles by black, as you guys see. I mean, these are the 2 squares that the pieces would end up on, so they are clear for the castling. So we do see long castles, and then we do see the move bishop down to c2. This is a very nice move. Now, there was a move in the position for some reason. Okay, now I'm going to have to tell you this. I have no idea what the computer is wanting in this situation. But this is actually what the computer has decided is the absolute best move. And now let me know if this makes any sense to you. Like I said, computers can be crazy, bro. The computer wants you to go D5, which initially you're looking at it like, okay, D5, like, okay, so the knight takes, so there's something there, somewhere. The computer wants you to go D5, knight takes D5, knight goes down to D2, and then you would be seeing knight to E3, queen going back to D3, knight taking D1, rook taking D1. Bro, I don't know. I don't know what y'all are thinking. I don't know if you guys can see man, this must be deep, bro. Because, I don't know. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. And then, I mean, black can either go D5 or D4. You got a lot of, you got a lot of protection on this square, so I don't know. I feel like you just gave up a pawn for no reason, bro. But that's just me. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I suck. But we do see long castles, like I said, and bishop goes to C2. And then we have pawn taking D4, knight taking D4. As a human, this looks way better. Because it's like, okay, I didn't give up a pawn. Like, I got, I got an extra pawn as white. I got my knight more activated. So it's like, dude, there's nothing wrong with this position. Like, I feel like this is way better. But it's literally saying that black is completely winning this position. So, like I said, computers, man, like, what can you do? So we got rook D going to E8 after all that. The rook goes to D1. We see the knight down to E5. And, I mean, black is definitely getting a little bit of tempi on white for sure. And we do see the move queen takes H7. And then we do have a rook over to H8. And, I mean, the one thing I definitely can say about the position is that you do have these rooks, barreling down on the situation. You got the knight barreling down. So, I mean, you definitely have a lot of play for black. And, I mean, once you can move these knights out of the way, this queen is kind of coming down here. So, I can definitely see some type of evaluation for black being pretty good in this position for sure. So, the queen does go back to F5. We see the move knight to C4. And we have reached a point in the game. I have two guess the moves. They're one right after the other. This is the first guess the move. If you guys want to go ahead and try to pause the video and see what move Magnus Carlsen plays in this position, it's a little bit tricky for black to handle. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and see what move that is, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So basically, it's a sacrifice, if you guys probably already guessed, and it has a very clear threat behind it. What you are seeing if you're Magnus Carlsen, or if you're anybody playing the white side, is this rook and this queen are both on this square. If you can manage to just get a piece out of the way. So if you guessed knight takes C6, you would be absolutely correct. And there is actually only one move that black can actually play in this position. So, if you want to go ahead and pause the video now and guess what move there is for black to play in this position, go ahead and do so. Okay, like I said, there's only one move you can make as black. And it looks crazy because you're thinking, okay, automatically as black, you're thinking, man, this is checkmate, right? Like, I mean, I can't take the knight any kind of way. Like, I mean, what am I supposed to do in this position? Because, like, I mean, I'm just getting mated, right? So I got to, like, make, like, some type of, like, move, some kind of way, like, just to defend the situation. Like, but I want to move my queen, too. There is actually a save in the position. The move is, only move, knight to E2 with check. And it might look kind of strange. You're like, why am I'm just giving up the knight? Well, what you're doing is, like I said, you're getting it out of the way so you can start checking. And this was literally the only way that Yakan could actually continue basically winning the game. He's completely winning the game, but he had to have found this move. So if you found knight to E2 check and knight takes C6, I mean, you're pretty gangster, man. You're like right in these dudes' heads, bro. So like I said, knight does go to E2 with check. We see rook taking E2 and then queen taking on H2. And you had to think about all of this and allow all of this and be calculating this if you're Magnus Carlsen, just because, I mean, look at what's on the board, man. I feel like you're getting demolished. So the king slides over to F1. You see king you see queen to H1 with check. The king goes up to F2. You see rook takes E2 with check. The king takes on E2. Queen goes to G2 with check, and then the king goes up to D3. And you can see that now the king has just moved in the way. So the king has just moved in the way of the rook, and now you are not protected on this D7 square if you want to deliver checkmate. So that was a severely lot of calculation that you had to go into if you were black. So I'm sure that Jan sat there for quite a while and was like, man, hold on, bro. He had to double check, triple check some things, man, because that was not comfortable to be in at all. So we do see knight going to B2 with check. The king goes up to D4, and then we do see pawn taking C6. The most important thing, as you guys know, is making sure that the king stays on this file, so that way the queen can't just deliver herself on D7 with anything, you know, explosive. So we do see the queen going over to E5, and this allows a pretty flashy finish by Jan. We do see a rook going to H4 with check, and then we do see bishop going to E4 blocking the check, and it is in this position that Magnus Carlsen resigns the game. You basically resign because this is completely on the table. So you're not getting mated as black, like you're all the way good, and you're just now down an entire piece and a pawn. So, well, no, you're just down a piece. You're down a piece, so you don't want to be down this. But if we back up, right, after the queen went to E5, and then the rook came down to H4, of course, leave it to the computer. The computer absolutely 100% wants you to go queen to E4. I think you guys might can see what I'm talking about. Bizam. This is ridiculousness. And then the crazy thing is, the computer doesn't even want you to actually take the queen with check. The computer just wants you to take on C2. Because the queen is pinned to the king, so it can't take the queen back. This is like sadistic right here. And then you allow queen taking H4, but then you go queen to C4. Like, not taking the rook with check, but saying, bro, I want your queen, son. Nah, don't be here, bro. Don't be here, dude. Don't do this, man. So that is why when you see bishop sitting on the move, you know, sitting on the board E4, Magnus Carlsen just says, man, I don't even want no more, bro. Let's get to the next game, homie. So yeah, that was that game, man. It's actually pretty interesting. Of course, going back in the situation after knight went to C4, and then we did see this. Of course, I mean, this pawn is pinned to the king. So of course, if you saw something like this, this was just going to be checkmate. So for those of you that want to visually see that, it's pretty much it, man. So, you know, we didn't want to get into that, man. So we kept playing forward, and we got into this position right here. But you see that bar just shoot all the way down for black. Look, this is 55, bro. Crazy. Anyways, man, I appreciate you guys very much. Maraming salamat, tusen tak, and spasibo. And I'll see you guys next time.